Okay, so before we hop into your session, one, your energy body gave me a page full of notes, so we'll go over those. But before we connected, I pulled you some oracle cards. We won't go over them in the session, but I'll send you pictures and their guidebook descriptions, and that'll be a deeper level of messaging. And then I asked each one of your chakras what kind of crystals would help with your healing and with your growth. And so I built you a crystal grid, which I will also send you pictures of. And then I will get the replay to you either today or tomorrow. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
Great. Okay. And I know that you wanted to leave your session open and see what comes through, but I wanted to ask if there's any questions or anything that has come up in between the time you actually booked the session and now.
Not really. It just my energy body and higher self tends to let me know what I need.
Okay. I totally understand that. Okay. So before we go over the notes here, I would love to hear more about where you're at with your energy healing abilities. Or do you have a practitioner business? What's going on in those realms?
I am building the practitioner. I'm kind of in the I'm healing myself, in the
Mm-hmm.
process of healing myself for one. Because I've got a whole mess of things going on because I basically chose not to listen to the rules that I set for myself coming into this incarnation. So I'm cleaning up that
Gotcha.
and healing from that. Um, and so I am, though, doing some holistic stuff. And here of late, the I always had everything, but then went through a period where I don't want to say I lost them, but they kind of went hidden
Mm-hmm.
through various medical diagnoses and through because of medications. They were hidden from me for a very long time. And they've here in the last 2 months really come out with a bang in a good
Mm-hmm.
way. So I'm kind of relearning everything, and it's been a fun ride.
Awesome. Okay. So with some of these misdiagnoses, okay, and we don't have to get into like the nitty-gritty of things, okay, but are some of the misdiagnoses making you interpret your gifts or not interpret your gifts, if you get my drift? So if like sometimes we'll get these diagnoses that tell us like, oh, you have something over here, but actually it's just that we're a multidimensional being. Like we're fairly talented and
Yes.
gifted, and they make you think
Uh
it's something when it's actually not.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh, um a lot of them were mental
Yeah.
um uh disorders.
Mm-hmm.
Some were you know mis you know I was mis I mean, I'm an open book. I was misdiagnosed as bipolar. That
Mm-hmm.
was a big thing, and dealt with some depressions and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I was put on mood stabilizers, which never worked for me. I wonder
Mm-hmm.
why.
Mm-hmm.
And and so and then I've always had tinnitus at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
But I never told anybody because I thought I was going to be put on medication. And I'm like, well, I'm going to play with my friends. I want to do this. So I never told anybody. And now I understand why.
Mm-hmm.
My guides were trained to connect with me because I
Yes.
don't have a hearing issue. And I still, to this day, don't have a hearing issue. My hearing is perfect. Um, but I now know why I have tinnitus. I do have a medical condition that does cause tinnitus,
Mm-hmm.
but there is a
But we can tell
different,
the difference.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, and so it's like it's fascinating to me to be like, oh, what do you mean yours doesn't change? Mine does.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, and people just like, huh, what? I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, then never mind. I'm gonna go talk to this person over here that doesn't give me three, looks at me like I'm crazy. But yeah, so but that was the gist of it. Or I was a hypochondriac.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's all in my head. I'm making things up, that kind of stuff. So I basically either ran from it, stopped meditating because, they were just like constantly contacting me. I was getting premonitions, I was seeing spirits, I was just everything. And I'm just like, this is gonna stop. No, 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 no.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially when you're already in like when you're already energetically corded into the mental health fields, and
Hmm.
it makes you have a viewed skew point on yourself sometimes, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh well, maybe this is true. And then you start going down these kind of like rabbit holes, and then you have a lot of self-doubt and trying to run away from it. So I'm sorry that happens. It's very traumatic. It's a lot to heal.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, there's a reason why it happens. It
Sure.
makes you stronger. It does this. It still sucks. But
Mhm.
it's uh it's make me realize that I'm a very powerful,
Yes.
amazing person at this point.
Yes. Okay. They're too powerful for the 3D realm. They're like, we don't know what
Yes,
to do with you. So, right. Okay.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how long ago was it in the physical realm that you kind of like broke free from that paradigm?
um I probably 3 years ago, I think, is
Mm-hmm.
when the big transformation kind of happened. I just kind of stayed quiet about it,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of kept to myself. But I've kind of always been this way, but I
Mm-hmm.
just never knew why.
Sure.
Um, and so, but yeah, 3 years ago when I had my major stomach surgery, is when things kind of changed.
Mm-hmm.
I was just kind of like done, because I knew what was wrong with me and why things were happening, but nobody could figure me out. And I'm just like, don't you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? This is what's wrong with me, folks. And that's kind of when I started going on the journey and start looking into the holistic stuff and everything. But I was still ultimately denying um, my gifts and everything else. But eventually, I gave in.
Yeah, it can be really tumultuous if you're a really powerful being. And one, you have like a, not you necessarily, but when people have a lot of PTSD and trauma and you are also a powerful healer, a powerful being, it's like your body it just is going so out of whack because you're so connected to your multidimensionality that it's like, what are we doing here? Like why are we not expressing ourselves? Why are we not showcasing this, right? And then all of this trapped PTSD and trauma within us, because we're such powerful channelers, it's like those things are on level a million, and they're
Yeah.
just in our body just like shaking like this, right? Yeah, so it's causing anxiety and depression, all these other things, right? So you're kind of on the other side of that hump.
Yeah.
Are we experiencing, and this is all in congruence with the things that came forward with your energy body, so we'll talk about that in a second, but are you let me see what your higher self is asking. Okay, one, do you want to help people break out of that paradigm? Like, is that something
Yes.
for your future goals of like, hey, I want to help you realize that you're just a multidimensional being that's a very powerful channeler and you have been seemingly misdiagnosed in many different areas.
I feel that that's what I'm being led to. That's why I'm going through all of
Yeah,
this, and is why I came back, why I'm here.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of baby souls that are trapped in that matrix, the medical
Hmm.
lies matrix like that, that need persons like yourself that have learned how to exit to help them.
Yeah.
which is a beautiful soul mission if that's what you're choosing to do. I love that. It is going like we need to break more of them out so we can tip the scales over. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So are we holding on to any kind of like shame and guilt from that time period of in our life of like, oh, I should have known better, or like, oh, I can't believe I got duped, or like any of that stuff?
I think I'm now I was, and I think I'm finally starting to, I think that was my last shadow to finally work
Mm-hmm.
through. That because I just actually was it, yeah, it was last week, did a oracle card reading, and it was like the one that I was waiting for, to see if I was actually finally working on that, that, you know, the whole, you're not, you're shameful, you're stupid, you're this, when I know I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And am I actually working through that, moving through that period? So I think I'm finally releasing all of that and just, you know, moving on from that. So um, I think I'm finally moving through and just being like, you know what? That's all in the past.
Mm-hmm.
It happened. It is what it is. It's a learning experience. It's time to move on. It's time to release and use that to help others, and relate to them and saying, hey, this is my experience. This is what you've experienced, and so on and so forth.
That's beautiful. I can also see per the experience that I had with your energy body that you're on the tail end of that, of letting go, of like having that realization of like, oh, this is just part of my soul mission. Obviously, I need to go through this so that I can bear witness and then help others with it. So when we're kind of looking at it through that lens, it takes a lot of that guilt and pressure off, but at the same time holding space for that version of us that had to go through that because that was very intense. Okay, I'm sure for them, right? Okay,
Right.
let's talk about because this will be part of releasing those energetic cords of the past, because your energy body is also ready to release those things per this experience that we went on together. Okay, so what exactly kind of modalities are you trying to get into? Because I have some here that came through that we're going to talk about, but is there anything like specifically that you're trying to kind of like head towards?
Um, well, and see, this is
Or how do you want to be helping people? I should say.
this is my thorn in my side.
Okay, that might
Okay.
be why. That might be why she was like, "Can you just tell me what my gifts are?" When I was in
My procrastination,
there. Okay.
queen, my my crown. Okay, so um I've got classes on board for Reiki, crystal healing.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, they're all online. Have I sat down and done them yet?
Okay.
No.
Okay.
um I'm thinking about looking into I am going to do like functional, um like a certified functional nutritionalist,
Great.
dietitian
Okay.
type thing, just because when I have a feeding tube and I'm writing my own feeding orders, that's a problem because I'm the patient, and yeah, and I can figure that out on my
Hmm.
own.
Plus
I figured,
nutritional, like you're probably gonna be working with a lot of people that have dopamine and serotonin irregularities,
yeah,
and that can really help persons with the nutrition part.
right.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, I'm figuring all this out. Like, I can just, you know, figure all that stuff out and just, so it's like I might as well just become official.
Yeah.
And it's not that long of a degree when you do it online. But so, and then I've also found another online course, and I'm not sure. It's like it's not a, none of this is like a doctor, but it's like the equivalent, because I'm not really interested in, I could care less about prescribing medications.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I'm into, but it's like, but it's not like a health coach either. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually, and I can't think of what it's called, but an MD, who became a functional medicine MD, is who coaches. So I would actually earn CMEs, and do all that stuff. So that's kind of what I'm looking into right now. And then like I just did a whole bunch of stuff on like psychedelics. And these are just like um podcast, not podcasts, but webinars and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
for just extra
Like
learning.
continuing education things. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
on the brain and stuff like that, just not for fun, but just to learn,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of get into that, and meditation and stuff like that.
That's great.
um
Okay. Yeah. I can see kind of like the track that you're headed down right now as far as, yeah, I do want to be helping people with multidimensional stuff and breaking out of those matrices, out of the medical matrices. However, I need to be able to get their human in balance first before they can even open up into those realms. Because
yeah,
you know that accelerating consciousness very quickly and opening up your channels can throw persons into spiritual psychosis sometimes, and then
exactly.
that's an actual like real thing, right, that people are
Yeah,
dealing with. So we need to get their human in homeostasis before we start breaking down truth paradigms within them, and then we start collapsing really quick, and that's too fast for some people. And so
yeah,
so yeah, okay, so I
100%.
say you're gonna bridge people over. Okay, that's beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah,
your higher self said to getting a good handle on that dopamine and serotonin thing, and then also neural networking, like how neural pathways, like make sure that we're spending some time studying those things as well, because she's saying that most of the persons that you're going to come across are going to have things going on in those areas as well. Cool. Okay. So we'll talk about what happened with your energy body here, and then I'll tell you about some more modalities that want to
okay.
come through that you can head into. Okay. So when I went into your energy field, I saw a ladybug, and we love that because they are signs of prosperity and abundance and all good things coming your way. However, we were also in a very dark cave. Okay. And I was like, do you want me to follow you? And the ladybug was like, yeah. And the ladybug, which was a symbol of your energy body, was like, I don't know where I'm at. Okay. And I said, okay, well, let's find out together. So when I shone this light with my hand so that she could see, there was all these different paths in the cave that you could go down. So basically, she was trying to find her way out of the cave towards prosperity and abundance. Okay. And that's not always monetary, but just, feeling better overall
Yeah,
in life. Okay. I said, why have you not tried to go down these different paths? And one, she said, because it was dark and she couldn't see. She said, I'm worried about dead ends. Like just spending a lot of time and energy going down all these paths and then hitting roadblocks. I said, okay, why are you assuming there's dead ends and that they don't all connect to one another? Like we would like, this is sometimes where we are putting a lot of power outside of us, and it's just like, no, we can just choose the path that we want to be on. Okay. And I said the path to the goal just might look different depending on which one you go, but you're still going to get to your goal no matter what the path is. Okay, when you're coming from that level of understanding, I said, even if there was a dead end, and I took her down one of the paths where there was a dead end. And I said, you can make an exit. I said, watch this. And I was pouring energy out of my hand and I just blast open a door in the cave. I said, you could just do that too. Okay. I said, you're a very powerful healer. You're not stuck. Okay. And that's what she's been feeling, just kind of constricted in her reality, right? I said,
hmm
I said, that's false. Okay. You can blast it open if you want. And I said, let me see what I She said, I said, if there was a dead end and you got to a dead end, what is it that would be making you so upset? And she said, because then I would look like a fool for getting myself to the dead end in the first place. I said, who would you look like a fool to if you're the only one in here? I said, take me out of it. I said, who are you looking silly? And she was like, oh, wait a minute. I said, right, okay. And I said, oh, you're worried about people understanding your vision. We are concerned about what other people are going to think about what we're doing, whether that's in the context of family members or friends or society. Okay, it could be a lot of different things. I said, nobody's going to understand what you're doing. Even people who are super woo and spiritual and beautiful beings of light, yes, they can understand you to a point, but your vision is for you. You're the only one in your mind. You're the only one in your soul. Okay. We can find people who are like, yeah, I will support you fully and help you, but they're never going to see through the same lenses as you do. And that's something we have to like come to terms with. Okay. Like that is just for you. And we have to stop placating to other people's expectations of us. So what comes up for you when I say that? Is that something that you've been working through? Of like,
Yes.
oh, I'm headed towards this reality that's so different from like normal scape.
Yes.
Okay.
That 100% resonates. And that's what that card reading last week, why that meant so much, because basically it kind of guided to where I was working through being stuck.
Yeah. Feeling
Yeah.
constricted in. Yeah.
Yeah, constricted.
Yes.
And finally, I basically just said, you know what? F it.
Right. Like I'm tired of this. Like I'm just gonna
Yeah.
go. I'm just gonna go for it. Okay, good. And sometimes these energy bodies, when they're coming forward, or like shadow remnants, like you've already moved on. Like Shelly's already in the new timeline, in the new paradigm, but it's just like these old energetic cores that need to be kind of like cleaned up here. So your higher self wants to remind you of that as well. Like, hey, this is not a whole bunch of work that we're gonna have to do. This is just cleaning stuff up. Okay. So she said, let's see my line here. Okay, so I said, if you could create the exit like I just did, where you just doesn't matter which path you're going down, you just blast a hole through the wall. I said, what would be your hang up then? Because she was still not wanting to do it. She would not do it. I asked her, I was like, girl, just bless it, but she was like, nope.
Yeah.
Okay. She said,
I'm
honestly,
stubborn.
yeah, she said, honestly, I've been afraid to use my energy healing abilities to their totality. I said, so that makes sense with what you were saying. Like,
Yes.
we've been demonized for that or told we're cuckoo or whatever. Okay. So she said, I'm tired of not having the support that I need. So what she meant by that was we don't have enough peer community members. And I said, what does that have to do with your energy healing abilities? It's because I totally understand wanting to have more soul tribe members around us. I said, but what does that actually have to do with your gifts? Because she was kind of like faltering on, I don't know if I'm powerful enough, right? And almost like needing validation from like peers and other people. But she said, I would feel more like myself if I was around other magical persons, right? And I said, yes, being around magical people definitely helps you feel more confident in yourself and in your life. I said, but the slippery slope that we can get on is needing that kind of like external validation of how powerful we are, which I don't think that you're experiencing right now, but there could be like a potentiality of that in the future. But there is something to be said about having conversations with other people who are kind of in the same reality state, because it validates what's going on in yours and it makes you feel not lonely and isolated, and that you are actually with a big group of people who are moving into this new earth paradigm together. It's not just you out here solo dolo. Right? Okay. So what kind of community do you have right now?
I don't, most of my community is online.
Yes.
I
Okay.
don't have a support. I do have like friends in person,
Mhm.
but not anybody that I can really talk to about. I just now finally started actually opening up online.
Great.
I never even opened up really online, um, period. And doing that has started to become freeing. Telling my story. I've been, uh, I don't even know for how many months. Shine your light, tell your story, do this, do I mean,
Mhm.
literally, my guides, higher
Screaming
self,
at you.
yes,
Yeah.
to do it. So this, I mean, literally, this just resonates 100%. And I just finally just started doing it. And whether or not people care or not, if there's literally one person that it can help, great, wonderful. That's all that matters. And I reached out on one group, and people were just, oh my gosh, this is so interesting. Tell us more.
Mhm.
And I reached out because my son was going through some stuff, and his gifts started coming out. And
Mhm.
that's why I
Oh,
reached out.
beautiful.
Yes.
That's great.
And so it was in relation to that. And I'm like, hey, when I have some more time, if anybody's interested, I can share more. And yes, 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 please, please, please. So it's kind of like, okay, great. I can actually do some good, and but it's just kind of like, if nobody responds, if one person sees it and it does some good, that's what I'm here for. And everything, that's all that matters. It's not about the clicks, the likes, the this, the that. And
Mhm.
that's what it used to be for me. Oh, that person got 100 likes.
Mhm.
I only got two. Oh. And then I had to work through that, and I had to be by myself to get over that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to realize for myself that, you know, I am powerful. And, yes, I had the community, but I needed to do it in the heart. Um, as opposed to having everybody, oh, you're great, you're wonderful, you're this, you're that. Because, you know, yeah, it's nice to hear that, but until you love yourself, it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, I used to have people tell me all the time how like, "Oh, you're so awesome, you're so amazing, you're so powerful," and all that stuff. It is it just doesn't matter until you accept that about yourself,
Mhm.
and then that's where the real magic starts happening, right? And then you don't need that
Yeah.
stuff anymore because you're just like, okay, well, I know that. But it's an
Yes.
act of like self love, yes. Okay, love that, and that's probably what your higher self was saying too, with like the last bits of that remnants of needing that external validation or working their kind of way out the door, right? Um, higher self is saying that it's going to be really important for you to continue to build these communities. One, because it kind of sounds like you're in a place where there's not as many of persons like yourself around, kind of like where I'm at too. And so I had to build
Yeah.
my own communities. I had to interject myself into a lot of online spaces, which I was very blessed that I found a place which I can give you the information to if you'd like, where it's like advanced healer groups that
Okay.
you can start participating in if you want that information. It's actually where I started giving sessions in there because it was just people who were already kind of deeper in their ascension journey and gave me a lot of feedback, and just really awesome people in there. So I'll give you that info. Um, through connecting through connecting with the internet, these online communities, I was able to actually meet three. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm talking to my cat. She's
Oh, okay.
walking at me. That's so
uh,
much.
I was able to meet three of my soul tribe members and
Okay.
actually meet them in person. and actually envelop them into my reality, even though they do live in different states. I like
Right.
it is a window to open up those things. So higher self is like, oh, we really need to continue to push that,
Yeah.
right? And pulling it towards us. Okay. Your energy body also said, I don't have enough people to try my gifts on. And so that's probably where the community piece is coming into. Like, I need more practice partners, if you will. Okay.
Yeah.
And then she said to me, I don't know what my gifts are. And I said, okay, which you, oh, cutie.
Yeah.
Which I think that you have a understanding of what your gifts are, but it's more like I want specific things. Like I don't
Mhm.
want generalized things. I want to know very specifically. Okay. Does that sound in resonance?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So you this version, Shelly, is much more confident in self. This energy body, again, is kind of coming from the past a little bit more, and she's still kind of working on her confidence and like her self-concept, and you're kind of like pulling her with you, right? These old facets that were kind of still corded to those times of that medical stuff going on, right? So I
Mhm.
said, okay, let me do an energetic scan on you. And so I put my hands over her, and what I saw was, one, you had angel wings come out of your back. I said, oh, you have access to angelic healing abilities. Like you can channel from the angelic realms, not in the religious context necessarily, right? But we
Mhm.
have that type of energy healing. Is that something that you have felt before, or like you've known, or is that something that you're already studying?
I haven't studied it, but I've been told and I've felt many times that I'm an angel on earth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A lot of people who have access to these angelic healing abilities have been angels before. And so, yes, okay. I'm going to send you a woman. Her name is Diana Cooper. Do you know who she is?
Mm-mm.
She is the angel lady. So she would be a good person to just even watch her YouTube videos, but study under. She can help you with that. And someone named Melanie Beckler. And then, have you ever done an angel wing chakra meditation before?
No.
Okay, that can help open up that chakra in the back of your shoulder blades and help you access more of that gift. And so I'll send you one of those as well. I'm gonna make a note. Okay. It's funny that you said with Reiki, because after your wings popped out, you had this very cat-esque, which is funny with your cat. You had this very cat-esque head that came like on your body and almost kind of like lion-esque. And I said, oh, interesting. And then I put my hand on your chest and you had all these hieroglyphics on you.
Mhm.
And do you know what Sekhem Reiki is?
Second. Mm-mm.
It is an Egyptian form of Reiki that you can
Okay.
channel from that frequency. There's not a whole lot of practitioners that do that, but I am going to send you somebody who does. And if you just simply watch her videos, it will open up that gift within you. And then
Okay.
while you're taking Reiki, if that's what you so choose to do, you can ask your spirit team, your higher self, your higher awarenesses to also open up your channel lines to Sekhem Reiki at the same time. Even if you're doing like holy fire or a Sui Reiki, like just set the intention of like, oh, I want to do this too. Even if you're not taking
Okay.
necessarily a class for it, okay? Because you've done it before. You've done it in
Yeah.
other incarnations. So it'd be easy for you to channel down. Then I asked her to give me her hands because you have open hand chakras. So that's probably why you're being called to do Reiki and things of that nature. Probably do light language too if you wanted to do. But I felt like a lot of energy coming out. And so I asked her to hand them to me, and this water started pooling in them. And when I looked into it, I was like, oh, you're a scryer. You can look into water and channel messages for people or even for yourself. Oh, you can do that on the physical realm, but what I would suggest if you are channeling for other people and receiving messages from their Akasha field or their higher self or their guides is you ask a body of water to come forward while you are channeling for them. Like in Let's say that you close your eyes, and you don't have to close your eyes. This is something you can unconsciously or consciously do. But let's say that I'm doing the session with you right now. Maybe before I get on, or even right now in this second, I would ask an ocean to come forward, or a waterfall, or a lake, or a pond, or a creek. It can even be a water source from a different planetary system, like Mintaka, just whatever you think is going to resonate with this person's energy fields. And just having that body of water next to you, because you're a water bearer, a water scryer, is going to help you tunnel a lot deeper into their Akasha fields. Just having that in the ethers around you. Any questions about that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay.
That one resonates because of I knew kind of had a feeling about that one.
The more time you can physically spend around water too, is going to be really beneficial for your energy body. Like, or taking baths, just as much water as you can get around. But it doesn't always have to be physical. You could spend time and go, like, next time you do guided meditations, or whatever you do, just ask a body of water to come into your fields.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll help. It'll help flush out a lot of stuff. You still have. Let me see what your higher self wants me to say here. It's not exactly like crystalline energy in your meridian lines, but you still have some like old stuff from the past, like PTSD and trauma stuff in your system. And this water gonna help flush it all out. But we got to be intentionally asking the water to come forward. Okay. Then I saw this giant red transparent energy that like swooped up over your energy body, and it created like this really big, almost like halo-esque, that was covering you. It was like this big giant robe, but I could see through it. And I said, "Oh, what is that?" And then Mary Magdalene came forward, which is so funny because you have this cross up here. Okay. And with the angels, right? So Mary Magdalene came forward, and she said that you've been under her protection, that you're one of her students in other lifetimes. Okay. So she is, and not in the religious context, okay, because she's her own person, she's her own spiritual healer, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But she is a keeper of compassion and grace and empathy. That's part of her messaging that she imparts to others. And so you can channel directly from Mary Magdalene and offer her healing to people. But you've also been under her tutelage too, so you have your own thing over here. So,
Yeah.
oh, right. So I said, "Oh, you're a channeler. You're a channeler. You probably channel anything that you want to channel." Okay, but these are a great place to start to help you remember, because these are things that you've been doing for a long time. Like the second Reiki, like that's an advanced form of Reiki. Angelic healing, advanced form of healing. Mary Magdalene, advanced teacher. Okay. So these will be kind of like what your energy body was saying. I don't know what paths to take to get me to the exit. These are some paths that you can take to get you out of that cave, if that makes sense. Right.
Yes.
Yes. Because these things are going to resonate with you very deeply because you've been doing it for a long time. So it's not like just picking up a random modality, let's say like human design or something that maybe you don't have a lot of access to. It's going to be like, "Oh yeah, this is supernatural. I'm very gifted at this already." Questions about those?
No, because I've been told, remember who you are.
Yes. Okay. When we were doing the meditation before we started recording, that 2-minute meditation that we were in, I went back into the cave with her, and I said, "Hey, are you ready to come out of here?" And she was like, "Yeah." And so she created the exit, and we popped out, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, the sun is so bright." And I said, "I got you some sunglasses," and I put some on her. It was very cute. She was like, "Oh my gosh." And she was like, "Oh, the warmth, the sun, like this feels so good." And there's like all these birds chirping, and we were kind of like out in this pasture. And she was like, "Oh, this is so wonderful. This is amazing." I think that she needed one to be seen, like her story, kind of like what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That's been very healing. I can see, to just express, because it's really helping other people. It's having the ripple effects. It's helping them break out of those things. But for another healer to see her,
Hmm.
like actually like really see her. And like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, wow, you're really powerful. Like you have these like really advanced gifts. Like good for you. That's super special. That's amazing, right? She needs some confidence boost. Right? And to be having some clarity and direction on what to do to move forward, because everybody kind of needs that,
Yeah.
like we all get in our own heads and we're just like, what am I supposed to be doing here? So
Yeah.
this will kind of like guide her, like, hey, these are the next steps you can take, where you'll make a lot of forward movement in these areas very quickly and kind of accelerate faster than you maybe have been kind of like grasping for straws, even though the straws that you've been grasping for are great. All of those are in resonance with your soul mission, what you want to do. So it's not like you've just been wasting time, is what I'm saying, over her.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, no, actually, we're very clear on what we're trying to do here. I think that you felt very muddled and lost and confused for a long time. And sometimes these old energetic forms of ourselves are still thinking that we're in that reality. That's where we have to come in and be like, ma'am, I got it. Okay. We're good. I know
Yeah.
exactly what we need to do. I just need you to trust me more and let go of all that self-doubt and all of that trauma and all of those different things. Like I've got the plan. Okay. Or at least my higher awareness and my higher self has a plan. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So what would you like to say to her today?
Well, um, stop being resistant to help. Um, Sometimes you can't always do it by yourself. Um, and you know, we'll get there.
I would say you're already there.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I would say
we
like,
are.
girl, like we listen, because that's kind of harking back to what she was dealing with of like, oh well, if I choose the wrong path, we're on the right path right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're on the, yeah, we are definitely on the right path.
Yes.
But I guess what I mean by we'll get there, um, is more, I guess I'm thinking more like with the medical healing part, because that part's gonna take some time. But on the spiritual part, yeah. Oh yeah, we're there. Um, and everything. But um we just gotta stop resisting, um and just release. Allow yourself to release. Allow yourself to heal and take the time that you need. Take the time you deserve.
Yeah, it's also okay to take a break after going through all that
Yeah.
trauma stuff. Okay. And exiting and because that takes a lot of personal power to get
Yeah.
out of those paradigms. Like that takes a lot. So like if we need to take a break, that is okay too, before we spread our wings and fly over here. Okay. Like it's okay to rest.
Yes.
So your higher self wants me to tell you that, okay, from a 3D human perspective, the medical stuff could take a lot of time in the 3D sense. But your higher
Yeah.
self wants you to know that you already have the ability to look into people's what we will call a codex and see what is going on with them without having to have all of the 3D knowledge. That is more a matter of, do I believe in myself enough that I have already had these incarnations that I can perceive through people's energy fields on a quantum level? Because you can already do that.
Yeah.
So, okay. So So yeah,
Yeah.
it's great to do the studying, like yeah, do that and everything. But because I went to school for psychology, I worked in the mental health fields, I learned all this stuff. And then the further I got into believing in my magic and channeling from other incarnations and believing in like what I'm actually able to do, I can perceive a lot of stuff that I never quote unquote learned about.
Yeah, and that's one reason why I haven't signed up for the big course, because
Mhm.
I just look at it, I'm like, that's a lot of money. Do I really want to spend all that?
How
As
much can you
opposed,
pull down from your Akasha field instead? Yes.
right, you know, the nutrition stuff, you know, that, you know, that's not a big deal. And then the webinars,
Hmm.
it's more, those are just fascinating to me. But
Sure.
yeah, the other stuff I can pull down and everything. And it's, I drive my poor husband nuts. I'm like, you just gotta trust me. I'm always right.
I know what you're talking
I'm
about.
always
Yes.
right. And
Yes.
he kind of looks at me, and I always like I'm like, I see these memes and I'm like, here's me, here's my husband. I'm just like, you just gotta trust me. He's like, I can't. What do you mean by that? I'm like, because I just know things.
Yeah. I know. I have the same conversations with my son every single day. Okay. Like I just know. Uh what this looks like to me is you getting a better handle on your channel lines more so you can figure out and perceive, okay, what exactly have I not learned in other incarnations? Because there are some things, right? Like there are things that none of your other incarnations have access to because they just haven't simply learned it. But if you can get into your Akasha fields and get a little bit more clear on, okay, where are the gaps, but what do I already
Yeah.
have? That's going to, one, save you a lot of time and energy and also help you with your confidence and your self concepts and open up your channel lines even more. Like a lot of this needs to be more internal work within your Akasha fields.
Okay.
And then, if you want to sign up for that course, do it. Like sometimes that helps your human. Okay.
Yeah.
And if that's going to make you have forward progress and then it's going to get you, towards that path, kind of like we were talking about with her, like you're going to get where you're going to go either way. The path just might look different. So maybe you do go to school and then you do all that stuff too. But your higher self's like, listen, like we have a lot of these things already. Okay. That's kind of why she was saying, like, hey, we already are where we need to. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's it cracks me up when they send me, because literally it's like a punch right here.
Mhm.
I mean, it's when they send me information, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get it now. I get it. Okay,
Hmm.
you don't have to give me that hard. Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm not ignoring you anymore.
I think the nutritional thing would be really good for you to go down that path and further explore because you haven't been a human for as long.
Hmm.
So you can see things within people energetically and multidimensionally and even with their like neural networking and like dopamine and serotonin and things like that, but the actual human physical vessel is like kind
Hmm.
of a newer concept to you. So even with your own self, that's probably why you probably didn't take as good care of your human in the first chapter,
Yeah.
right? So that would probably be really good for you to like double down on with the nutrition thing, but as far as like the quantum reading, what's going on with people medically wise, that's some stuff that you can channel down from other incarnations. Not saying don't take that course. Okay. That's not what your higher self is
Yeah.
saying either. Just spend a little extra time figuring out what you have access to within. One of the ways that you can do that is eventually, I don't know if you're ready to do that yet, but the more sessions that you give to people, the more clarity and direction you get on what you're able to do. And you're going to like
Okay.
blow your own mind with like, oh, wow. Right? Sometimes the only way you can figure out what your abilities are to channel is through channeling for other people. So I would bear that in mind as well. Okay. And if you need practice
Okay.
partners, who are already like seasoned energy healers who will give you really great feedback and would love that, let me know because I will connect you with people. So
Okay.
it's not just random people. Okay. Cool. Okay. Any questions about those topics?
No, but I definitely would be interested in some practice partners for
Sure.
sure.
Okay. Great. Okay. Let me. Okay. One last question your higher self wants me to ask you. Why do you think that she is being resistant to help?
Mm,
And help from what? And help from whom?
um, resist. I think she's being resistant because always had to do it on her own,
Mm.
and used to always figuring everything out on her own,
Mm-hmm.
and um not realizing, and as a child not realizing who was contacting her,
Mm-hmm.
um and everything, and when reaching out was told um that we don't talk about things like that, that's taboo, that's the devil, that we're Catholic, that's the reason for the cross, um and hush hush kind of stuff, um and so, and then when it came back up again, became a mental disorder,
Mm-hmm.
and so the confusion along with that, and then the medical mixed diagnoses, so who were resistant from is, I've got to do it on my own, I've got to figure it out on my own, so I don't want help from anybody,
Mm-hmm.
not family, not friends, not practitioners, not because I feel, she feels that it's taboo or anything anymore, but I got to do it on my own. I can figure this out. I always have in the past. I can still do it. But it's the realization that sometimes you can't. You need to reach out, whether that be to the higher self, to somebody who's more seasoned or whatnot.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers there.
Yeah,
Which you're actively working through, and then you being
yeah,
self-aware of like all the layers is beneficial, right? So I would say to her, like me saying to her, um, I was really able to vastly accelerate my gifts when I had peers and clients and all of these things to mirror back to me. And it was able to outstretch the knowledge and wisdom and cosmic understandings and upgrades and activations and all of the things that I am able to do through working with others, whether that is in a friend way or in a client way or whatever that is, right? The only way that I was able to do that is in working with others in whatever capacity that means. Like you can only get so far in your own mindscape.
yeah,
And even in your own Akasha field, there is only so far that you can get because you only have this many type of incarnations that are relevant to your experience. And so once you run out of those, and now you're just like, okay, now
right.
four, right? Um, are you still having fears around channeling and beings coming through and being afraid of things like that in that nature? Great.
Yeah,
Okay. You want to double check there? Great. Okay. So it sounds like you got it. You gonna work on all that stuff with her. Okay. Okay. I think having some seasoned healers to mirror off of will definitely help with your gifts as well. I'm going to send you resources on angelic healers, second Reiki, Mary Magdalene. I think I have some resources on some healing resources. Maybe we'll see. And then your oracle cards and then your crystal grid. Are there any other resources that you need? And in our we'll talk offline too about practice partners and how many partners that you
Okay.
would like.
Okay, great. I think that would be good.
Awesome.
Would be
Okay.
wonderful.
What was your biggest takeaway today?
Um, Big takeaway is that I'm on the mark and you know, get, connecting, and that I need to continue to stay open and connect with other healers, and just continue sharing
Yeah,
and staying open.
absolutely. Because
And
you're gonna end up building your own community.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that is the greatest way that I'm going to strengthen my gifts and powers.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're a seeker, is what I'm calling of like, I always need to be on the cutting edge of advancements. Like I need to be out there. So the only way that you can
Yeah,
get there, because 3D advancements, we're done with that. Okay. We
yeah,
need advanced technology from other galactic systems that we can pull in and for our own self and also for others and for the collective that we're headed into. And so you're going to be doing some high level, like multidimensional work within people's Akasha fields because it's so wonderful and beautiful helping people in their Akasha fields and helping them connect to their multidimensionality and their magic. What's even cooler sometimes is that you are pulling all of this information from everywhere and you're able to implement that and integrate it in your life and other people's that's even kind of like outside of even helping this person. It's like I am just this channeler of all of this advancements and pulling that in for Earth for this incarnation through working with other people's Akasha fields. And so you are a big paradigm shifter as well. So you have a lot that you're going to need to be sharing with people. So the more that we're connecting and networking and getting used to being on camera and connecting and all those things, the better
yeah.
because you have a lot of things that you're going to pull down from the Akasha realm for other people via doing sessions with people. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. Okay, Shelly. It was wonderful meeting you face to face.
Yes.
Yes. And I will get everything to you soon.
All right. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, I'll see you next time. Okay.